Vasquez's class. And we're going to find out who they are right now. Sitting right next to me is...
Cowgirl Nancy.
And sitting next to Cowgirl Nancy is...
Cowboy Cole.
All right. And they're here to bring you the news written by the second grade to find out what's been going on in the second grade since we've been gone all this time. So, take it away, Cowgirl Nancy.
Many of us were born in the month of March. 4 students celebrated their birthdays. For Will's birthday, his parents did not bring cupcakes. Instead, they brought yummy ice cream. There were different flavors as well as chocolate syrup and sprinkles. As a special treat, Mr. Madden also brought in artifacts from ancient China, but that is another story. For Marissa's birthday, we ate vanilla cupcakes that had chocolate frosting, Miss Vasquez's favorite. We sang to her and she wore a crown that said, "I'm 8." People in the halls would wave to her and wish her a happy birthday. I guess Marissa felt pretty special that day.
Stevie's birthday was a blast of fun. His mom brought in donuts to the classroom in the morning. That was a pleasant surprise. We normally have cake or cupcakes for birthdays. Stevie is now 8, and so far, he likes it. Finally, we had Sarah's birthday. We also sang for her, and she also enjoyed wearing her birthday crown. Her cupcakes were different because they were delicious lemon-flavored, teeny cute cupcakes. Since her birthday was near Easter, she also gave us a chocolate egg. We wanted these for lunch, but Ms. Vasquez thought we should enjoy these at home. Sarah is also 8 years old.
All right, let's give all those birthday people in March, Radio Ranch Yahoo, get your hands on your hat. We're going to lift up our hat and say, Yahoo!
Yahoo!
All right. And that brings us to our next story with Cowgirl Nancy again.
To kick off our unit to ancient China, Mr. Madden, Will's dad, came to talk about his travels to China. It was really interesting. He brought several artifacts to show the class, and he also had a PowerPoint presentation. He was impressed by us because we knew so much about China already. Even Andrew knew the name of the first Chinese dynasty. His visit also landed on the day we celebrated Will's birthday, so Mr. Madden helped serve ice cream. We really enjoy having visitors in our class.
All right, so Andrew taught you what the first Chinese dynasty was. What was it?
I don't remember.
Cowboy Cole?
Nope, I don't got it.
All right, well, we're going to give a shout out to Andrew. Maybe you can have your teacher type that name of that dynasty into the chat room so that we can share that to all of our viewers at the end of the show. So get typing Andrew. All right, but that goes to our next story with Cowboy Cole.
Origami boxes. Many students in our class have Irish ancestors. So for St. Patrick's Day, we learned a little bit about Ireland and Irish heritage. Did you know there are no snakes in Ireland? Well, we really can't tell you how the book ended because that will give away the best part. After we heard the book, we made origami boxes that were to capture a snake. At first, it seemed that making the boxes would be very challenging, but we realized that if we just followed Miss McGonagall's directions, it would be really quite easy. Miss McGonagall said that we were one of her best groups in making our boxes. We all made both top and bottom parts to our boxes and we decorated them. We set them out by the windows before we went to gym. When we returned, our boxes were closed and we captured a snake. Well, it wasn't a real snake. It was an edible gummy snake.
Oh, I wish we had gummy snakes instead of the real kind around here on the ranch. Now, one question. You can tell me, and I won't tell anybody how the book ended, right?
I can. It's a surprise.
But you can tell me. There's nobody listening.
There's a whole crowd listening.
All right. Well, I tried. But right now it's time for us to take a break, and we're going to go on down to a hoedown. We got a musical interlude coming up right here on the ranch, and we'll be right back with more stories from the second grade after that.
Shake up a fiddle, play a real jig and jive. Dance like a bear jumping around a beehive. tap your boot fast, tip your hat slow. It's time for a hoedown, so go, go, go. Bow to your partner, bow to your own. 3 hands up and around you go. Break it on up with a do-si-do. It's time for a hoedown, don't you know?
Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day. Like my iPod stuck on replay, replay, replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day. Like my iPod stuck on replay, replay, replay. Remember the first time we met at the mall? You was at the mall with your friends. I was scared to approach you, but then you came closer, hoping you would give me a chance. Who would have ever known they would have ever been such great friends? Yeah, that girl is a hostin', that girl is a dime, they say. Yeah, Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day. It's like my iPod stuck on replay, replay, replay. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day. It's like my iPod stuck on replay, replay, replay. I could be your melody, a girl that could write you a symphony, a girl that could be your melody, a girl that could write you a symphony. Hey na 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 na. Girl, you got me singing na 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 na. Girl, you got me singing. Shawty's like a melody in my head that I can't keep out. Got me singing like na 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 every day. It's like my iPod stuck on replay, replay, replay.
All right, and that was excellent. And that leads us right back into our next story with Cowgirl Nancy.
To continue learning about Irish heritage, Dr. Wilson visited our class and talked about the Irish culture. He sang some Irish songs and played on his guitar. James told him he was part Irish. Dr. Wilson told us to be very proud to be Irish, German, Welsh, Bolivian, French, or whatever our background was. It reminds Sarah how Miss Vasquez is always reminding us to write our last names on our paper. She says, "Don't forget your last name. Be proud of your last name. It's beautiful." She says that all the time.
She does not.
Yes, she does.
She does? That's very cool, and you guys should do it all the time. That's one of the coolest things I've heard a teacher do. All right. And we're just a reminder, we will be taking questions about any of these stories. If there's something that you didn't understand, something you want to know a little bit more about from our anchors, we'll be taking those questions at the end of the show in the chat room. So go ahead and type that in. But that brings us to Cowboy Cole with our next story.
In class, we finished our unit on ancient Egypt. We did 2 activities to learn a little bit more about life in ancient Egypt. We made a Nile River activity using clay. We shaped what would represent the bank of the Nile River. We placed sponges on the ground, and that represented our crops. We farmed cotton, and we planted out crops after the Nile River flooded, because that is when the rich dark soil is left behind. Miss Escalante and Mrs. Vasquez poured the water on the plastic bins. We talked about the cardinal directions and made sure the water flowed from south to north. The Nile River flows north. Many of us thought that was pretty neat. The activity was not only fun, but we had to work in a kind and helpful way.
All right, now I heard you say that you had to build the bank of the Nile River. You mean that way back then they had a bank where people could go to get money and...
No,
it was
banks means the
where the water flows.
And
The water flowed through the bank?
No. It wasn't even a bank. You couldn't even get money.
They're like...
It was just like a river.
So what do you mean by bank?
the sides of the river.
Oh, so it's a bank can mean a place where you go to get money, or you store your money, or it can mean the sides of a river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. I think I got it. All right, our next story is Cowgirl Nancy.
Have you ever wondered how the pyramids in ancient Egypt were built? They were created long ago and without the use of heavy equipment. To give us an idea of how they might have been built, we were given a task. We had to transport a heap crate of books from the floor onto the top of our desks. We could push and pull, but we could not lift the crate. We didn't have machines, but we did have a long rope, long pieces of wood, and 24 bodies. We were split up into 2 groups. We first talked and shared ideas about what we could do and how we could do it. Both groups used the boards and planks to push the crate up. It took everyone working together to accomplish this. Marissa said there was too much talking and moving around and that our room got entirely too loud. Karen thought that was probably how the Egyptians felt as they were creating the pyramids. This was a really great activity
Why was it so great?
because it was really fun.
Okay. All right. And Cowboy Cole, next
Field-
story.
Field trip. The entire 2nd grade went on a field trip to the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. Can you believe we went by metro? Yes, it is true. On the day of the field trip, we had 11 parents in our class as chaperones. We were given strict instructions to always be right next to our chaperones. First, we walked from school all the way to metro and stopped, and then we boarded the metro to the Smithsonian Metro. The metro cars were pretty full, and many of us had to stand up on the way there.
All right. Now, explain to us what you mean by metro.
It's,
Well, and
it's a train that goes underground, like a subway.
All right. So people
That's
watching
it.
this from other areas, we call the subway here the metro.
Yes.
yeah, there's another term, and it's subway.
All right. Or I think in the United Kingdom, in England, they call it the underground. And other places, they call it the tube.
Yeah.
And so, but it's all the same thing.
Maybe
Okay.
they call it.
All right. So who's Cowgirl Nancy is up with the next part.
Once we arrived, we had to walk a very long way to the museum. This was the first time any of us had ever visited the museum, so it was amazing. One stop that was a big hit was the Volkswagen Beetle bug that was covered in beads. The beads beautifully decorated the car. Even though we were tired, we made it back in time for PE. Not only that, but Will, Mia, and Thornton all came back to school in the evening to practice their performance for Odyssey of the Mind. That was one very, very, very long day.
Now, what's Odyssey of the Mind?
It's something where students perform and stuff.
Perform what?
I don't know.
All right, I think that we need to find that out. So again, if you're near a computer and you can type that into our chat room, we need that answer. What is Odyssey of the Mind? Because I know for a fact that for the first year, one of our teams for Odyssey of the Mind went to the state competition. That's the first time that Barrett's ever sent somebody to the state competition. But what did they compete in? I don't know. And with the Volkswagen Beetle covered in beads, what did that have to do with the American Indians?
Well, it was a car decorated like it was. The whole car was decorated in beads.
Ah, and you really like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And Cowboy Cole, what was your favorite part of the museum?
Mine was the place where you could stomp the shoes on level 4.
All right. Stomp the shoes. Why would you stomp the shoes?
Because they're really hard, they can stomp through like ice and they can chunk you off ice.
Wow. All right, we're going to head on over to the chat room and see if there are any other questions for our Junior Thunder Riders and find out if we know the answer to that